Får se om den här kvinnan visar upp sig då. The court hereby resumes the trial of Runosoke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Auchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency. Against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry.
Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
It's highly unlikely that the good relationship we've forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders?
Again, terribly sorry.
If the friendship between our nation is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Runosoke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation just insists to miss? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up, jump back, rookie boy. You and your friend know nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
Rädda för all imperialism. Som det brittiska imperiet höll på med under den här tiden, antar jag. Eller ja. I won't deny I'm no expert. I'm just a student and one who couldn't arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all.
Well said, Runosoke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now assume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Se om man kan klara på en brittisk accent.
Well, what a delightful it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land.
Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England, no discussion takes place without tea.
Is that true?
Is that true?
No idea.
So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation to the court?
Of course. My name is Satora Hosonoga. I have been working undercover as the head critic
Yes, we know about all you already.
Inspector Hasunaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true?
No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of.
Oh yes, I think I did. Didn't I?
Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Rhinosaur, but powers of observation aside, your powers of descriptions are sorely lacking.
Guilty.
So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please.
Oh no! Kan inte förstå engelska, eller?
I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what?
The lady says her name is Yesail Brett. She comes from London, England. She has a visiting research student currently enrolled in the university medical faculty.
Oh my, what a rapture to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a lot of you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song.
As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough.
Yes, I agree. Ha ha ha, you obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it?
No, you've clearly been paying attention in your English classics, Rhinosaur.
Hörru, jag fattade ju inte vad hon sa.
The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Barrett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called La Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? She says yes. This could take some time.
So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese?
She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that it was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately.
Interesting. When you're one who engineered her escape.
I was just following special orders from the bureau.
Well now, dear lady, how would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it mean that your respondent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps?
Apparently, it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight.
Do you mean to say?
Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Order in the court.
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Where we have an absolute conclusive witness statement.
Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify if you please.
Så han hintar där att hon är den riktiga mördaren och att vi nu måste överkomma henne, I guess. Eller om de bara försöker lura en och att det egentligen är ännu en mastermind. Mustaschmannen, I've said it since the beginning.
Jag är fortfarande inte såld på att det är henne.
Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterward, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
This is condemning.
No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard, and look at this snow-white angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe.
You're still making the same mistake, Arinosaku. You mustn't blurt out when you're goated like that. That's a lesson you need to learn.
But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statement from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before and reported back to the bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go.
The testimony of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however.
Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to.
Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot.
There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. These are the witness's own words on the matter. That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift her up the drift so I could prove it.
Don't think about doing anything rash, Herr okay?
But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day.
You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere.
Yes.
Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart.
Uh-oh.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
Jag tänkte bara kolla lite över vilka bevismaterial jag har här då. Jag har inte så många än så länge. Pass through the victim. Okej. Efter 2 PM. Förlust av blod. Kulan åkte
Inte rakt igenom kroppen.
Se om vi behöver pressa på någonting kanske. Oj, nu glömde jag kolla. A professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. Okej, nu har jag figurerat ut så jag går fram och tillbaka så jag slipper hålla på och krångla med det där. Slightly late. Nej, så order. Okej, jag tänker... Jag tror att vi måste pressa här. Inte pressa först. Se vad han menar med fierce argument. Yes! Eftersom det var en lögn. Vår karaktär här.
I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did when I noticed him was go over and say hello. Please do not get angry with me. No, I was directing that retort to you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not get into an argument with the professor. I am afraid your words are in vain. Sorry. Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese.
No, of course not. Japanese is a cumbersome language anyway. English is the future. We must all speak English. We must all speak English.
I wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever or only in the presence of a beautiful woman.
Well, that beautiful woman is telling a blatant lies with a completely straight face. I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be. Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat.
That part ties in with what you said, doesn't it?
Yes, I still had some coffee to drink.
And the next time you got up after that
was when I finished my coffee and stood up to leave.
Okej. Så vill jag kolla på det här sista då. Att de inte kunde gömma. I don't carry a gun.
Yes! It's all very saying that, but can you prove it? Absolutely. I verified it personally. You verified it? Yes, immediately after the incident I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not." That's all you did? You just asked her?
Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector.
No. Why on earth not?
The honorable English gentlewoman clearly stated she did not possess a weapon. There was obviously no need for any further probing into that matter.
Or there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps?
Think what you will, but if you're going to continue with this preposterous claim that our fine lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts.
In other words, he wants evidence.
The lady wishes to point out that of the court she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation, but she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave.
Not to mention the fact that your office had told you what to get the woman out of there.
Not get her out of there. I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she in no way meant to run away from the scene of the crime, which is why she is only too happy to cooperate and testify here in the court today, of course.
Unlike a certain student who refuses to admit when the game is up. You could at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I'm guarding you.
So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor at the end of which you shot him.
Which is an out totally unfounded lie.
Still, her statement is very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in a dull black school uniform.
I'm dressed exactly the same way as you are, except for the flopping red ribbons.
Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony as the fiction that it is. If we can't do that, the trial is over. Even you with your thick skin must be able to feel the murderous looks you're getting from around the room.
Only too well. I feel half dead already. And the fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her testimony isn't making me feel any better either.
The first thing to do is press her on any of her statements that seem even slightly off to you. Do that, and an opening will present itself, I promise you.
I need to expose the true face of this exotic foreigner that's hiding behind the mask. That's what I should be aiming for in this cross-examination.
Ja, så han hintar där att vi ska pressa och få mer information. Det fick jag inte av de där två senaste, så det måste vara någon annan. Är det den här? För det stod att det var en beefsteak, men också någonting annat. Om det räknas som misstänksamt.
Yes! He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the horror clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with a witness before answering.
Was Miss Brett aware of that fact?
It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatments. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left.
Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant land on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight.
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all?
That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the dinners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water.
What do you think, Rinozogi, about the witness' last statement?
It's very meaningful. Jag tror inte att det var två glas vatten. Det var bara ett.
That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, was a profound bearing on this case.
Well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing,
The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls the witness' last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Well sidestepped, counsel.
Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one.
Which one?
Significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase.
I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Rinosuke.
Okej, kolla på bevisen här nu då. Det är bara ett glas. Det är ju inte två på glas.
Yes! That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd. Very odd.
Dear me, what's so odd is the defense inability to express itself.
Rinosuke, what is about the print that looks odd to you?
Well, obviously it's the shears.
The shears.
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said shears over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1.
Ah! You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over a minutia? What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Minutia, you say? Could it be that the defective here removed the glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence?
Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that Miss Barrett who took the glass from the table. What? It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I would try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious. Sorry.
There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember that this student had just murdered his lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in a state of disarray?
That's absurd.
Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this venerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief?
What? No. This can't be put down to mischief.
I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene.
It would seem that she slipped into a small handbag she was carrying.
A handbag, you say?
Yes, Your Excellency, a small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England.
So, the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes down to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. I counsel for the defense. Are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really.
If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance.
Kan jag spara nu ifall? Vill ju inte få game over nu. Det var jag slänger sen senast spara, tror jag kanske.
Jag vet inte hur det autosparas
egentligen fungerar.
Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's a deeper significance here, it is...
Glaset, handbagen.
Handbag? Hon kunde ha haft en pistol i sin handbag.
Jag löste alltid handbag.
Wait! The lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained on the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let me see, a little while ago Miss Britt stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun.
You're right! Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too.
What are you insinuating, you wild blackguard?
It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire the gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't be seriously suggesting.
Inspector Hosonaga,
Yes!
did you or did you not search Monsieur Shelbrett's handbag on the day of the murder?
No, sir, I did not.
As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Britt's handbag.
No! Order! Order! Order!
What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
That's the meaning of what, Prosecutor Archie?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at that time? Thanks to you bungling incompetency, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask.
Do you think so, Kasuma?
Ahem. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary.
Unnecessary in what way?
I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag.
Well, I have never.
You can see. You can see right through what's inside.
That's right. Apparently, meshwork bag like these are the high fashion in London at the moment.
So the contents are clearly visible.
Exactly, so there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilty. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san.
Okej. Är det någon twist till den här handbagen eller är det mer att vi ska gå vidare till ett annat spår?
Order! Inspector Hosanaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once.
Certainly, Your Excellency. A photograph after it shows Miss Britt's handbag on a chair by the victim's table.
Vi ska ju kolla närmare på det och se om det finns något suspekt med den där bilden.
I think you have had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
No! Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma?
I'm sorry, Rinosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there is no way to force the trial to continue.
What? You mean this is it?
I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weak are meat, while the strong eat. You were wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell.
This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma,
What?
is there really no chance now of turning this trial around?
You heard the judge. There is nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest, which means there is no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue.
Very well, I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all.
That smug little...
Rinosuke Naruhodo, having considered all of the evidence...
Oh.
Wait! Your Excellency!
Rinosuke?
I don't think you can rule this case yet.
This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print you submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of question.
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
You'd better know what you're doing, Rinotoku.
I understand your objection, Counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has undergone the court scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
My thought exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right, if I could only put my finger on it.
Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
What?
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect.
Okej, jag ska se till att spara nu då, ifall jag inte får chansen till
Senare. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
So take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosanaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded.
Ja, det är någonting på armen här. Är det här då? Tatuering eller vad är det? Det kanske inte hade uppfunnits på den tiden. Vad är det för någonting?
Ser ut som en tjur bak och fram.
Så någonting annat. Skulle det kunna vara en red herring? Se om det finns någonting som matchar med det där. Det där trycket tänkte jag. Vad är det där för något? Det står ju ut så väldigt mycket. Det är verkligen som att de vill att man ska trycka där. Men vill de bara lura en? Jag vet inte, vad fan är det meningen att det ska vara för någonting? Annars annars skulle det kunna vara? Det skulle kunna vara någonting med hur de är positionerade. Jag har ju 5 chanser på mig helt plötsligt igen. Ja, jag testar.
Yes!
Whatever this is.
Look at this here! There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist.
That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark. You're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it was when performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so it didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Ouchie points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and the other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
What's your thinking on this, Åklagare? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging in the hope that I might uncover something useful.
Yes, you're right.
I am?
If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back up again.
Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed, I am afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn of the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it.
I would, yes.
To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn, but as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face.
Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's the time to find some evidence that proves that what the burn really means.
So then, the defense will now present this evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial.
Okej. Det var ju här jag kollade, jag vet inte. Jag kollade ju här tidigare, jag kunde inte hitta någonting. Nej. Magnifying glass. Ska man hitta någon extra grejer här eller är det bara... Juhu. Det här... Där han blev skjuten. Oj. Kollade bara aldrig. Vad är det här för något?
This plan of the restaurant raises a number of questions, I think.
Definitely.
It's supposed to show the relative position of everything at the moments following the incident. But there's nothing to show the woman you say you saw there.
Exactly, and that's not all. Look, here in the upper left, where it says kitchen.
Oh yes, what of it?
No one would use those complicated characters to write kitchen, especially not if they were in a hurry.
You mean you don't remember those characters yourself, don't you? Study harder, Rinnesoki.
Nej, ingenting där. Magnifying glass. Har vi någon annan information här eller? Okej, där. Ja, det är samma sak här fast jag tryckte på något annat. Yeah, can I go vidare? Magnifying glass, ska jag se någonting speciellt då? Huh. Victims burn and this trial, vad är det här för något? Har någonting att göra med brännmärket. Probably not. Få upp profiler. Då man ska bara ta och chansa lite då kanske. Helt enkelt. Jag kan inte hitta någon. Vänta. Där har vi någonting.
Yes!
What's this, counsel? And yet another print?
Yes, Your Excellency. I believe these photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at the scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have such an unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore.
What? How?
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean.
Här på...
Yes!
Jag vet inte hur det leder ihop till allting med att på tallriken där via beefsteaken fick han ett brännmärke.
The beefsteak.
Actually, the point is the metal plate the beefsteak was served on.
The plate?
Ah! Your Excellency, are you all right? As you can see, there's an emblem on this plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. Ah! This emblem on the plate and the victim's burn are exactly the same shape.
Rinosuke, you're a genius!
You're spot on!
Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
But even if that's the case, we can't know it happened the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Alchi, the chances of that are extremely slim.
Thanks.
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosodaga?
I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it would have suffered a very long time ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I have not heard anyone scream at all.
As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter.
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that.
And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream. Not on any day or any before it.
That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either.
What are you suggesting?
Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on plate for anything like 3 seconds that day,
that would be beyond careless, I think, counsel.
Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Well, I suppose,
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream?
I almost don't believe it. Rinnersöke, do you think?
Att han brände sig efter han var död. Hur ändrar det grejer, saker och ting?
Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap.
Okej, vad menar han nu då? Vad menar de nu?
There's only one explanation I can think of makes sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson
was already deceased.
No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from in one particular situation.
Counsel, are you suggesting?
Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead.
Already?
Dead?
Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beef steak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness.
Order please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly has no grasp of the fact.
Objection!
No, Professor Archie, it's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon.
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Britten knows something about it.
Så jag menar att det här indikerar att han dog innan han blev skjuten. Och att han då brände sig. Om jag fattar rätt.
Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But Your Excellency...
The justice system in our court may be in its infancy, but rest assured all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to make a judgment.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Kommer hon börja prata kanske?
What was that smile?
Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps our relationships between my country and yours.
Miss Brett, you speak Japanese.
Well, of course I do. I'm studying your Vad dålig jag är på att försöka ha en brittisk accent. Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all. But why have you speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
Oh my god, det är så jävla dåligt på att försöka få en brittisk accent alltså.
But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all of your own level.
You are the epitome of a true English gentleman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, readers over.
Unfortunately, I have no idea what the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Oh my god.
If there is some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative technique probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. That most captivating, beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does. I hope that this is the last time I will have to sully up my lips with these coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone.
Not at all. Not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's ban is utterly irrelevant.
I will speak to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today.
The Minister of Justice.
May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen.
Thanks. Was that a prayer then?
Well, you have to forgive the irritation, Miss Britt, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much.
I am sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problem with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. Ja, då ska vi se till att sätta dit henne då. Men det får bli till nästa gång, för jag orkar inte använda min röst något mer. Och vill försöka få tillbaka lite fokus och se om jag kan få till någon så här engelsk-brittisk accent. Fan. Engelsk så här. Jag är helt jävla lost på det, alltså. Det är så dåligt. Jag kanske får öva till nästa gång. Så att det blir väldigt så accurate, så man kan verkligen leva sig in. Men det ser ut som att hon är den sanna mördaren, och där är själva slutskedet på den här öppningen, på det här tutorial-uppdraget, som ju är väldigt utdraget för att vara en tutorial. Så det blir så man kan komma iväg och gå på ett riktigt uppdrag. Så ja, det är väl det man har att se fram emot i framtiden. Men nu ska jag väl spara här och avsluta helt enkelt. Så jag får väl passa på att tacka för att ni har kollat, och fortsätt även göra det i framtiden. Hej då!